Let me ask you something real. When life gets heavy, when the pressure hits, the doubts creep in, and nothing is going your way, what do you lean on? What carries you forward? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not even how smart you are. It's your mindset. Your mindset is the invisible force that shapes your response to everything, to failure, to fear, to success, to pain. It's the voice in your head that either pushes you forward or holds you back. And here's the truth. No one is born with a strong mindset. It's not genetic, it's not exclusive, it's built. Day by day, thought by thought, step by step. Today, I'm going to share with you 9 simple, practical, and powerful steps that will help you develop a mindset so strong, so grounded that life will no longer shake you, it will sharpen you. These aren't complicated strategies. You don't need to be a guru or a genius. You just need to be willing to listen, apply, and show up for yourself. Because once you build a strong mindset, you don't just survive, you lead. You grow. You win. So stay with me. If you're ready to stop doubting and start dominating, if you're ready to shift your mind and change your life, let's begin. You know, most people go through life believing that who they are is fixed. That how they think, how they respond, how they deal with setbacks, that's all just the way it is. But I'm here to shake that belief to its core, because the truth is, your mindset is not something you're stuck with. It's not cemented into your DNA. It's a muscle. It can grow. It can shift. And when it does, your entire life begins to follow that shift. See, there are 2 kinds of people in this world when it comes to mindsets. Some walk around with a fixed mindset, where they believe their abilities are carved in stone. If something's hard, they quit. If they fail, they take it personally. And then there are those with a growth mindset. These people understand that challenges are opportunities. They know failure isn't the end, it's the beginning of mastery. And what separates the two isn't intelligence, it's not even drive, it's awareness. You've got to understand that everything in your life, your success, your relationships, your health, your wealth, flows from how you think. That inner dialogue, that constant voice in your head, that's the gatekeeper. That's what determines whether you step into your power or you stay stuck. So if you want to change your life, you don't start with your circumstances, you start with your mindset. And that starts with catching the patterns. How do you talk to yourself when things go wrong? When you miss the mark, when you feel rejected, when you feel like you're not enough, do you spiral, do you shrink, or do you rise? Because here's the reality. You are not your thoughts, but your repeated thoughts, those become your beliefs. And let me make this even more real. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm not good at this, guess what? You'll prove yourself right every single time. Not because it's true, but because your mind follows the path of least resistance. It takes the story you feed it and finds evidence to back it up. And that's dangerous, because most people don't even realize they're doing it. They've been running the same disempowering script since they were kids. So what do? We interrupt the pattern. We make a decision, a real decision, that we are not going to be slaves to the voice of fear, doubt, or limitation. We replace those old scripts with new ones. We install a mindset that says, I may not be there yet, but I'm growing, I'm learning, I'm evolving, I am unstoppable. That kind of shift doesn't come from hype. It comes from awareness and repetition. It comes from being intentional every single day. When your feet hit the floor in the morning, what are you focusing on? Are you focused on what's wrong or what's possible? Are you reacting to life, or are you creating it? Because your focus is your power. Whatever you consistently focus on, you feel. And whatever you feel, you act on. And those actions over time become your results. So if you want better results, you've got to feed your mind something new. You've got to program your thoughts for strength, for resilience, for growth. And it starts with the smallest shift. One thought, one decision, one belief that says, I'm not a victim of my life, I'm the author of it. Now, some of you might be thinking, that sounds great, but I've been through a lot. I've got baggage, trauma, pain. Listen, we all do. Every single person you admire, every person who's built greatness, they didn't do it without going through hell first. But the difference is they used it. They didn't let their past define them. They let it refine them. And so can you. When you decide that your mindset is yours to shape, not theirs to break, everything changes. Your energy shifts, your confidence grows, you walk into rooms differently, you handle pressure differently, because now you're operating from a foundation of power, not fear. This is what I want you to take in right now. Your mind is your most powerful asset, or your most dangerous trap. And the beautiful thing, you get to choose which one it becomes. But you have to be deliberate. You have to train it like a warrior. You have to speak to yourself like someone you love, someone you respect, someone worth showing up for, because that's who you are. So if we're going to build a strong mindset, it starts here with this awareness, with this decision, this moment where you say, I am no longer available for small thinking. I am no longer a prisoner of my past. I am building something stronger, something greater, starting now. And that's where the real transformation begins. Most people aren't lacking motivation. They're lacking clarity. And the reason so many people feel stuck, overwhelmed, or burned out isn't because they don't have what it takes. It's because they haven't taken the time to get crystal clear on what they actually want, what they value, what truly matters. Because when you're not clear, you drift, you react, you hesitate, and hesitation kills confidence. Clarity is power. When you're clear on who you are, what you want, and what you stand for, decision-making becomes simple. You stop second-guessing. You stop chasing things that don't matter. You stop living for other people's opinions. That clarity, it cuts through the noise. It grounds you. It sharpens your focus like a laser. And that's where confidence begins. Not in pretending to be fearless, but in knowing exactly what direction you're headed and why. And listen, getting clear isn't about having every step mapped out. It's not about controlling every outcome. It's about knowing what you're committed to. You can adjust the sails later, but you need to know where the boat is trying to go. Most people are trying to build a life without a blueprint. They're busy, but not effective. They're moving, but they're not progressing. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted and empty. But once you lock in on a vision, once you know what your life is about, everything changes. You walk differently, you speak differently, you stop settling for average because average doesn't align with your vision anymore. You don't let distractions pull you under because your focus is anchored. You stop needing approval because your path is rooted in something deeper than applause. Let me tell you something real. You don't need permission to get clear. You don't need validation to define what your life is about. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment to choose who you want to be. You just have to be honest with yourself. Brutally honest, because clarity doesn't come from comfort, it comes from truth, and truth requires courage. You got to ask yourself, what do I really want? What does a meaningful life look like for me? Not for your parents, not for society, not for your Instagram followers, for you. What do you value when no one's watching? What are you willing to fight for, sacrifice for, stand for, even if no one claps for you? Because those answers, that's where your identity lives. And here's the kicker. Once you get clear, you'll scare some people. You'll make others uncomfortable because clarity forces contrast. It reveals who's aligned and who's just along for the ride. But that's not a problem. That's a gift. Because when you stop trying to be everything to everyone, you finally become someone too. Yourself. Clarity also brings something most people are starving for, peace. You stop chasing 50 different things. You stop saying yes to everything out of guilt or fear. You learn to say no with strength because you've already said yes to your purpose. That's where the confidence kicks in. It's not loud, it's not arrogant, it's calm, centered, unshakable. And I'll be honest, it doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes getting clear means shedding some old layers, letting go of identities you've outgrown, beliefs that were handed to you but never truly yours. You've got to do the work. You've got to sit with yourself, ask the hard questions, and listen not just to the surface level noise, but to that deeper voice underneath all the pressure and pain. That voice, that's your real compass. And most people never tune into it because they're too busy performing. But when you finally pause and listen, you'll realize you've always known the truth. You were just afraid to honor it. But you're not here to play small. You're not here to live a life of quiet frustration, always wondering what if. You're here to lead, to grow, to become. And that starts with a decision, the decision to get clear, because clarity gives your pain purpose. Clarity turns confusion into commitment. Clarity transforms anxiety into action. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to get honest, get still, and listen. What do you want? Who do you want to be? And what's one step you can take today to move toward that? Because when you know your why, you'll find your how. Confidence flows, discipline becomes natural, fear loses its grip, and the noise of the world, it fades because your inner world is louder than anything outside of you. So get clear, get bold, and don't apologize for becoming everything you were designed to be. There's one shift, one mindset upgrade that can take you from stressed, reactive, and drained to focused, calm, and powerful. And it's this: control what you can and let go of what you can't. Sounds simple, right? But most people are spending 80-90% of their energy trying to control things that are completely outside of them. They're trying to control people, circumstances, the past, the future. They're worrying about things that haven't even happened yet. They're obsessing over what others think, what they said, what they might do. It's a losing game. You'll never win it. And the more energy you give it, the more powerless you feel. But the moment you flip that, the moment you reclaim your power by locking in on the few things that are actually in your control, your mindset, your attitude, your effort, your decisions, you become unstoppable. Because now you're not scattering your energy, you're owning it. You can't control the economy. You can't control how people treat you. Can't control what someone says about you behind your back, but you can control how you show up. You can control whether you lead with integrity. You can control whether you dwell in fear or move in faith. You can control whether you keep your standards high even when life tries to pull you low. And here's the power in that: once you start focusing on what is in your hands, you stop feeling like a victim and start feeling like a creator. That's when everything changes. You start to realize the quality of your life isn't determined by what happens to you, it's determined by how you respond. That's your real freedom. Let me give it to you straight. Life will throw punches. It's not a matter of if, it's when. But you get to decide whether you're going to get knocked out or rise up smarter, sharper, stronger. That decision, that's under your control. And the faster you stop trying to control everything outside of you, the more energy you have to strengthen everything within you. We all have what I call a circle of influence. It's the space where your decisions, your focus, and your energy have real impact. But the problem is, when you're constantly reacting to things you can't influence, your circle shrinks. You feel overwhelmed, anxious, out of alignment. But when you take your power back, when you say, I can't control the storm, but I can control how I sail, your influence grows, your energy expands, you stop surviving and start driving. That doesn't mean you become passive, it means you become strategic. You stop wasting your mental bandwidth on things that don't serve you. You stop fighting battles that were never yours to begin with. You stop chasing people who don't see your value. You start choosing your thoughts with intention, your time with intention, your relationships with intention. And guess what happens when you start doing that? Peace, focus, confidence. Because now your power isn't being leaked in 100 directions. It's centered, it's grounded. And when you're grounded, nothing can shake you. Let me ask you something. How much time have you lost worrying about outcomes you couldn't control? How much sleep have you lost trying to rewrite a past that's already written? How much joy have you missed out on because you were too distracted by fear, doubt, or comparison? That ends now. That's what building a strong mindset is all about. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. right here, right now, owning this moment, making the best decision with what you've got, choosing to act with purpose, not panic. And here's a truth you've got to lock into your nervous system. Stress doesn't come from the event. It comes from your perception of the event. It comes from thinking it shouldn't be happening, from resisting what is instead of responding to it powerfully. But once you stop resisting, once you lean in with clarity and focus, the stress dissolves and the strength emerges. You've got to stop trying to micromanage life. You got to stop outsourcing your peace to things you'll never be able to control. When you do that, you become a slave of the external. But when you start managing yourself, your state, your focus, your intention, you become a leader, not just of others, but of your own life. It's not about pretending. It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about saying, I don't control the world, but I do control how I meet it. And when you live from that place, you step into a whole different level of power, one that no one and nothing can take from you. So stop trying to control the wind. Start adjusting your sails. Most people think building a strong mindset is about having one big breakthrough, one giant moment where everything changes. But let me tell you the truth. It's not the breakthrough that builds you. It's the follow-through. It's the little things you do every single day when no one's watching. That's what shapes your identity. That's what builds the kind of mental strength that doesn't crack under pressure. Your habits are the architecture of your mindset. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your rituals. So if your habits are sloppy, your mindset will be shaky. If your routines are reactionary, your confidence will feel temporary. But when your daily standards are locked in, when you've built a system of discipline, growth, and energy, your mind becomes bulletproof. It starts with how you begin your day, because how you start sets the tone for how you handle everything that comes at you. Are you waking up and immediately checking your phone, diving into other people's opinions, problems, and noise, or are you taking that time to command your mind, align your energy, and focus on your mission? Even 10 minutes. 10 minutes of intense breathing, journaling, reading something that fuels your mind, asking powerful questions like, what am I grateful for? What am I focused on today? Who do I want to be when pressure shows up? That's the difference between living on autopilot and living on purpose. And listen, this isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. You don't have to meditate for an hour or write a novel in your journal. You just need to show up with consistency, because every time you follow through on a habit that supports your growth, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you want to become, and the more votes you cast, the stronger that identity becomes. Mental strength isn't built in the big moments, it's revealed in them. It's built in the moments you choose to get up instead of sleep in, to focus instead of scroll, to push forward instead of make excuses. Every one of those moments is a brick. And you're building a fortress in your mind. Let's talk movement, physical activity. It's not just about fitness, it's about state. When you move your body, you shift your energy. You clear mental fog. You shake off stress. Your physiology affects your psychology. You can't feel weak, stuck, or passive when you're in motion. So get out and move. Even if it's a walk, even if it's 5 minutes, you don't need a gym to get your blood pumping. You just need to make the decision. To move, then there's your input. What are you feeding your mind? Because just like your body, your mind becomes what you give it. If you're constantly consuming negativity, scrolling through fear, gossip, drama, your mindset is going to reflect that chaos. But if you're reading books that challenge you, listening to podcasts that elevate you, surrounding yourself with people who think bigger and dream bolder, you'll rise to that frequency. Your thoughts will elevate. Your standards will rise. One of the most powerful habits you can build is reflection. At the end of the day, take a few minutes to ask, what did I learn today? What did I do well? What could I do better? That little pause, that self-check-in, it helps you own your growth. It helps you course correct. And it reinforces the truth that you're always evolving. You never stop unless you stop growing. And here's something most people overlook. Your environment is a habit too. The people you keep around you, the space you live in, the energy you allow into your life, all of it is shaping your mindset. If your environment is cluttered, negative, draining, it doesn't matter how motivated you are, you'll feel resistance. But if you intentionally design an environment that supports your growth, that reflects who you're becoming, it will lift you up even on the days when your own willpower is low. None of this is magic. It's not about hype or hustle. It's about commitment. It's about saying, I don't need to feel motivated every day. I need to have habits that carry me even when I don't feel like it. That's the secret. That's the edge. That's how you stop depending on willpower and start depending on your identity. When your habits are aligned with the future you want, the mindset comes naturally. You don't have to fake confidence. You become confidence. You don't just talk strength. You embody it. So if you want a strong mindset, don't wait for the perfect moment. Build it brick by brick, day by day, ritual by ritual, because greatness isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows through the habits you choose when nobody's watching. Growth lives outside your comfort zone. You've heard that before, but most people only understand it intellectually. They nod, they agree. But the moment life gets uncomfortable, the instinct is to retreat, to pull back, to shrink. And that's where the real battle begins. Not outside of you, but inside. Because the part of you that wants to grow is constantly at war with the part of you that just wants to stay safe. Let's be honest. Comfort is seductive. It tells you, stay here. Don't push, don't risk, don't stretch. What if you fail? What if you look stupid? What if it's too hard? But here's the truth. That voice, that's not your protector, it's your prison. You strengthen the part of you that settles. But if you want a strong mindset, if you want real transformation, you have to train yourself to do what's uncomfortable, not just once, but consistently. You've got to lean into the moments that stretch you, the conversations that challenge you, the situations that feel unfamiliar, uncertain, even intimidating, because that's where the edge is. That's where the next version of you is being carved. Discomfort is not the enemy. It's the signal. It's the place where resistance meets revelation. When your muscles ache in the gym, they're not breaking down, they're being rebuilt, and your mindset works the same way. Pressure doesn't break you, it reveals you. And more than that, it builds you if you let it. Most people think that mental strength is about never feeling fear, never feeling doubt, but that's a lie. Mental strength is feeling it and moving anyway. It's walking into the discomfort and saying, this might stretch me, but I'm not backing down. That's how leaders are made. That's how real confidence is built, not in the comfort of certainty, but in the chaos of growth. Let me tell you something. Anything worthwhile in life, your dream, your vision, your higher self, it's always on the other side of discomfort. Always. If it were easy, everyone would do it. If it didn't require something deep, raw, and real from you, it wouldn't be transformational. Growth costs. It costs your excuses. It costs your patterns. It costs your comfort. But what you gain in return is freedom. You see, the moment you stop avoiding discomfort and start choosing it, everything shifts. You stop running. You stop making decisions based on fear. You start stepping into rooms that used to intimidate you. You start having conversations that used to silence you. You start showing up with a level of presence and power that you didn't even know you had access to. But that comes from reps, from practice. You don't wake up one day and suddenly love discomfort. You train your nervous system to stop associating it with danger and start associating it with development. You build the habit of leaning in, of showing up, especially when it's hard. That's the edge, that's the work. And here's something people don't talk about enough. There's also a kind of discomfort that comes from not growing, from ignoring your potential, from staying small, from knowing deep down that you were built for more, but choosing less because it's familiar. That pain, that quiet regret, that's the kind of discomfort that eats away at you over time. So you have a choice. Face the short-term discomfort of growth now or the long-term discomfort of regret later. You can't avoid discomfort. You just get to choose which one you're going to face. And one of them makes you powerful when you build this muscle, when you get in the habit of saying, this is scary, this is uncertain, but I'm going anyway. You stop fearing failure. You stop needing everything to be perfect. You stop waiting for the right time and start realizing that discomfort is the doorway. Every time you walk through it, you become more, not just in what you can do, but in who you are. So lean into the fear, lean into the sweat, lean into the hard conversations, the unknown outcomes, the moments that make you question whether you're ready. Because those are the moments that shape you, that refine you, that reveal the version of you the world hasn't even met yet. Don't wait for growth to feel good. Choose it because it makes you great. If you want to develop a strong mindset, you've got to take command of the one voice that's always with you, the one that narrates your every move, your every decision, your every emotion. That inner voice, your internal dialogue, is either your greatest ally or your worst enemy. And the truth is, most people never even question it. They just accept whatever thoughts show up as facts. But thoughts aren't facts. They're patterns. And the moment you realize you can choose those patterns, you stop being a prisoner of your mind and start becoming the master of it. Your inner dialogue is the foundation of everything. You could have the perfect plan, the best strategy, all the resources in the world, but if that voice in your head is telling you you're not good enough, not ready, not worthy, guess what? You're going to find a way to sabotage it. Because your brain doesn't follow what's true, it follows what you believe is true. And your beliefs are shaped by repetition, by what you say to yourself over and over and over again. So what are you saying to yourself? Things get hard, you tell yourself, I knew I'd mess this up. When you make a mistake, do you go, see, this is why I'm not cut out for this? Or are you training that inner voice to say, this is tough, but I'm tougher. I might have stumbled, but I'm learning, I'm growing. I've got this. That's the difference between a mind that collapses under pressure and a mind that steps up through it. Now hear me on this. Mastering your inner dialogue doesn't mean lying to yourself. It means choosing language that aligns with your vision, not your fear. It means interrupting the old loops, the negative stories, and replacing them with something empowering. Not fake, not fluff, truth. The truth that you are capable, that you are resilient, that your past doesn't define you. Your decisions do. That you've been through things before and you're still standing. That you're not just going to make it, you're going to lead through it. And I get it. Sometimes that negative voice feels automatic. That's because it's been practiced, conditioned, reinforced. But anything that's been learned can be unlearned, and anything unlearned can be rewired. You've just got to be willing to challenge the script, to notice it, to question it, and then to choose a better one. Every time you do that, you're building a stronger mind, you're programming a new identity, one that no longer crumbles when self-doubt creeps in, because you've trained yourself to speak back with power. You've got to be relentless about this. You can't afford to be casual with your language, because language is leadership, and the first person you lead is yourself. You've got to speak to yourself like someone you respect, like someone worth fighting for. Because if you talk to yourself like you're small, weak, or broken, how can you expect to rise? Every day, you've got to speak into the identity you're building. I'm focused. I'm resourceful. I handle pressure like a pro. I adapt. I grow. I lead. Say it like you mean it. Don't whisper it. Declare it. Own it. Because the words you use with yourself become the frame through which you see your entire life. And this isn't just about motivation, it's about mastery. You're conditioning your nervous system to believe in your own capacity. And when that belief gets locked in, everything changes. You stop second guessing yourself. You stop shrinking to fit other people's comfort zones. You stop waiting for permission. You step in, you show up, you command the moment. Even in the hardest times, because it's easy to speak power when everything's going your way. But when it's hard, when it hurts, that's when it matters most. That's when you look in the mirror and say, I don't know how I'll get through this yet, but I know who I am. I know what I'm made of, and I will not back down. You become what you consistently say to yourself. So speak with power, speak with clarity, speak with the energy of the future you're building, not the past you're breaking free from, because every word counts, every phrase is a seed. And the mind you're building, your strong, unshakable, driven mind, is being shaped one sentence at a time. So if you want to master your life, start by mastering your language.